Good morning. We're in Genesis 13. Okay, here we go. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had. And Lot went with him into the south. Preach. And Abraham was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journeys from the south, even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of the altar, which he had made there at the first. Okay then. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. Okay. And Lot also, which went with Abram, and flocks and herds and tents and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together. For their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelled then in the land. And Abram said unto Lot, Let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren. Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from thee, and thou wilt take the left hand, and I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Or Zoar. So, this is kind of cool, y'all, because first of all, Abram, being the gentleman that he is, he says, look, or maybe he knows that, Lot would take him out if they were to get into it. But he says, look, pick which way you want to go. So, this is maybe a lesson in diplomacy. That, the Lord, first of all, he went back to his. Let's keep reading first. Okay. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan. No, then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. This was paradise, y'all. It says right here, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. So, the Jordan Valley, whatever it is, it was so wonderful. Okay. Now, Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent toward Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. Yep, that was me. Couldn't get enough. Couldn't get enough. Exceedingly, and the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Okay, arise, walk through the land. And what he's talking about, y'all, for one, Abraham is the father of all who have faith. Because, back then when they had altars and stuff, hold on. To thy seed. He's talking about thy seed. He's not just talking about, alright, so arise, walk through the land in the length, 17 of it. 17. In the breadth of it, and I will for I will give it unto thee. And then Abraham removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. Another altar. This is the third altar we've seen. But first of all, it says he returned to his first altar. Okay, and he began to call upon the name of the Lord. So, whatever this means, it's a returning. Maybe he. So first of all, okay, that's it for our reading today. But we're going to dissect this. Okay, so Abram went up out of Egypt, and Abram was very rich in cattle and silver and gold, and he went on his journeys from the south. At the beginning, okay, and to the place which he had made there at the first, and where there Abram called on the name of the Lord. So Abram called on the name of the Lord. I don't think he did that at the first altar for the first time. I think it just said he made an altar to the Lord. Okay. So now he begins to call on the name of the Lord at that altar. I know he called on the name of the Lord at the second one. So maybe he just needs a rededication. Maybe he just feels like he left something out. So he goes back. I don't know why he went. Maybe we don't know why he went back there. He went to the south. So maybe he just felt like he needed to go back and cross his T's and dot his I's. That's what I'm thinking. So he goes back, do that, calls on the name of the Lord. But now that the new covenant has come, y'all, with the Christ, all that stuff they were doing, burnt sacrifices, all that. If I'm not mistaken, if my theology is correct, the Spirit left the ark and came into the world, into us. So, yeah, they see the Spirit in the cloud, in the desert, and fire by night, up in the sky. And they built the Ark of the Covenant as a house for God. Boom. Of course, with his instructions, and boom, when Jesus died, the veil, the curtain at the temple torn in two. Boom, God came out of there. He was in the Christ, the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. He was in the Christ. He was in the ark. They constantly worshiped him. But when that happened, the veil was torn in two. At that time, no more sacrifices and tendings to that were needed. I'm speculating because, and it doesn't say anything about tending to the temple and all that in the New Testament, because the God came out of there and landed in us. In Acts, the tongues, he came out. So, guys, we don't have to go make altars anymore, if I'm speculating correctly, and if the New Testament is, well, it is, it's correct. So, let's not get hung up on this altar thing, y'all, because when Christ died, the Spirit of God is on us now. Period. The Spirit of God is on us. So, yeah, he made altars. At that time, God was more external. He was in a place. He was leading up to where he is now, which is in us. In the world, in the believer, in holy people, the saints. But it's not like he's just in us, but he's in us now. He's also everywhere. He's in heaven. He's in, all that. But he's in here, the Father, Son, and Holy. The Spirit's in us now. Whereas before, it was more at the temple. So, that's my take on that. So, because the veil was torn in two. It's a new covenant. He's out of there. That's my theology. It doesn't say anywhere in the New Testament that we're supposed to be at the temple. Now that he's out of there, the new covenant, it's dissolved. That way of things is dissolved. Okay, so I'm not saying anything about that religion, Judaism, Jewish. That stuff is awesome. That's our foundation. Okay, so now we're moving. Now he came down. Yeah, so he went down there and called upon the name of the Lord at the first place for the altar he had made. And the only reason I brought that up about calling on the name of the Lord that time was because he didn't call on the name of the Lord that time. So let me see. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, in verse 7:12, and the Lord appeared unto Abraham and said, unto thy seed I will give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him. Okay, so in verse 12:7, he built the altar because the Lord appeared to him and said, unto thy seed I will give this land. Okay, and he did not call upon the name of the Lord. I'm not saying he didn't, but it doesn't say that he did. So in 13, he goes back there and calls upon the name of the Lord. Maybe he needs some redirection, whatever the case may be. Maybe he went too far the first time. Something like that. So he's going back. He had left there and made another altar. Let's see. Okay. Oh, and he removed, in verse 8 of 12, he removed from thence up unto a mountain on the east, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and high on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. So he left the first altar, moved. Maybe he should have just stayed where he was supposed to stay the first time, at the first altar. Maybe he's realizing that. He had pulled off, without direction. He pulled off. I'm just speculating here. Maybe he pulled off. He realized he shouldn't have, so he went back to the first altar because he didn't call on the name of the Lord the first time at that altar. So he went back to the first one, called upon the name of the Lord. Maybe he said, maybe I should have never left here and gone back down there. So don't be too hasty on what you're doing. Do what you're supposed to do. That's what I'm guessing, y'all, because the Lord said in verse 7, 12:7, and the Lord appeared unto Abraham and said, unto thy seed will I give this land, and there he built an altar. Because the Lord didn't tell him at that time to push on. But he pushed on. So I'm guessing he moved in haste. He pushed on. So he went back there. I don't know. I'm speculating. Let's see. So he built the altar. Okay, and also, okay. So they went back there. And they had strife because they were so big, him and Lot. And then he made a diplomatic decision, y'all. He said, hey, Lot, our herdsmen are beefing, literally. We got beef cattle. We got beef here. So that's what happened with that. And he said, hey, look, we're too much. Let's work this out. You pick which way you want to go on the land. I'll go the other way. So that we can function properly, because we're beefing, literally. So he's making a diplomatic decision. You know, the Spirit of God is walking with him, I'm assuming, guiding him. The Lord's talking directly to him. Okay? So, and when he's talking about thy seed, he's talking about, we know now it's a spiritual seed. Paul, dissected that for us, and he found that out for us. Divinely inspired people. Men, we're all children of God, and that's a term that's thrown around a lot. You're a child of God? No, really, you're really a child of God. We're God's. Okay. But we're limited, whereas he's unlimited. But we're not. We're only limited in a sense. We're immortal, y'all. We're immortal. Okay. And it dawned on me the other day when I read require, and we'll get to that. Okay, so going down, the herdsmen, and this was in paradise basically. And Lot chose the choicest place. So they had settled. They settled. Okay. The men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. Let's see what it says in 13 in the English Standard Version. Exceedingly. That is one of my favorite words, because it's a spiritual word. It's, to the uttermost. And that's one of God's characters, is he's exceeding in all those good things. In all good things, or anything with power, he's exceeding. Love, wrath. That's a character of God, that he's just that great. He's exceeding and excelling at all things. He's never just. He's always going in a degree that's going to be best, if that would be optimal. He is the epitome of optimalness. You can't over optimalize. You can't. He's the epitome of epitomes. I got a whole paper wrote with words describing God, but he is anything you'd want to be good at. He's that. Everything like that. Security, all that. You can't be more secure than God, or more in a more secure state. That's God's character. He's untouchable. He's unjudgeable. He's all that. So I got a whole paper on that. Now maybe I'll share that with you later. God's character. Alright, so 13. Exceedingly, 13:13. It says, now, the men of Sodom are wicked and great sinners against the Lord. I like King James Version better. And the sinners before the Lord exceedingly. They are doing the most. They're doing the most. That's what we get a lot around here. People doing the most. They can't get enough. Whoo. That was me. Whoa. That was me doing the most. I don't think all people are like that. Just saying. Everybody wasn't like that. These guys were like that in this city. They were doing the most. And that's part of our godlike traits, character, is that, we're just exceeding in the wrong direction. But that's part of free will. If we can be optimal in certain directions, we can be optimal in other directions. That's the beauty of free will. It was just a misplaced energy. But, okay, so and I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. So, the Lord, of course, is in control here with Abraham. I mean, the Lord knows everything. He knows what's going to happen. But I say all that to say that he's not just talking about physical seeds here with Abraham. He's not just talking about his physical descendants. He's talking about our Father through faith. Because, the things of this world are not, of the other realms are not necessarily physical seeds. Like, procreation is it's spiritual procreation. He's a priest. We have priests. We have the Lord. All that. It's not about physical seeds. It's about adoption. It's about that. Christ, even in the lineage of Christ, there were a couple adoptions. So, in marriages. So, everything isn't connected by blood. It's more about in the image of, in the type of. Okay. When God made man, it wasn't a pollination physically. It was a spiritual pollination. Something like that. He made physical reality, but that's all we know. We're like a fish underwater. We don't know what's going on outside of the water. So there's a lot going on out here. If you're a fish underwater, what do you know? You just know you're in the water, this and that. You don't even know you're in the water. We know it's water. We know they're fish because we're out here. But they don't know. They're just in the water. So that we need to look at ourselves like we're fish, y'all. We're just under the water, because there's always more. I don't know always, but there's, we know there's more because of this. So, where was I? Sorry, I lost myself. Oh yeah, about the dust and his seed. All the people that would hear about the Christ. And let me push on, y'all. But to Psalms. But yeah, what we need to take away from this chapter is that Abraham went back to his first altar, and called upon the name of the Lord. I'm guessing that he moved in haste. Because it appears at this point that Abram was settled. He's in the land. The Lord said, get up, go. He went. He's there. He's settled. And we haven't heard anything else yet. So, mission complete on this end, it looks like so far. So Abram is settled. He's there. He's done what the Lord has told him. He even went back, crossed and dotted his T's and dotted his I's, which of course, So one of the main mysteries of all this, y'all, is that, it's about the Lord being, is Abraham in control? Can he mess up? Yeah, yes and no, because God's in control of everything. So yes and no. The yin and the yang are mixed, y'all. There's some white in the black, and there's some black in the white. There's little dots there. So guys, it's yes and no. It's not one way with God. He's in control. Abram's in control. So the mystery is, well, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing about how God does things. But yes, Abraham has choices. We have choices. We can go in and out of the book of life. Speculating. All right, now let's push on, y'all. That was good. All right, let's go to Psalms. All right, Psalms 10, I believe. All right. By the way, y'all, I'm thinking about going on Twitch. My son had mentioned it. He said that was a good idea as far as live goes. The ultimate goal of this channel is to, reach whoever we need to reach, or whoever the Lord has us to reach, and make an impact if possible. But guys, I need this as bad as anybody, and you guys are just, helping out a lot, really, just by watching and being followers. So, number 10 in Psalms. That's where we're at. Okay. Okay. Why standest thou afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? Okay. The wicked in his pride doth persecute thyself. No, doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices they have imagined. Okay. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous, whom the Lord hath poured. Let's start up here. 10:3. For the wicked boasts of the desires of his soul, and that one greedy for gain curses and renounces the Lord. So basically what he's saying, y'all, is why do people get away with what they're doing? These people are over here doing this. They're okay. Look at them. It's nothing happened to them immediately. But that's what he's saying. At first glance, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Why standest thou far in verse? Why, O Lord, verse 10, Psalms. Why, O Lord, do you stand far away? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? In arrogance, the wicked hotly pursue the poor. So he's saying, yeah, look at them. They're going about their business. They're okay. Look at them. They brag about it, and they're untouched, it appears. Let them be caught in the schemes, for the wicked boasts of the desire of his soul. 10:3. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, that his face, and his demeanor, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. No, it's not. God is not in all your thoughts. Okay? What does it say in 10:4 here? All his thought in the pride of his face, the wicked does not seek him. All his thoughts are there is no God. There is no God. Yep, that's a lot of things today, man. It just doesn't fit into the picture of what y'all are doing. There's definitely no God in the way that y'all are living. I say y'all, the world. Hopefully not y'all. If it is, you're in the right place. Me too. So, there is no God. There is no God. That's all I preach about here. Is people act like there's no God. That's all I preach about. So it's not me saying this. It's the Lord too. His ways, verse 5. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, He puffeth at them. Let's go up here. His ways prosper at all times. Your judgments are on high out of his sight. As for all his foes, he puffs at them. So he's saying, yeah, the bad man's doing his thing. The sinner, in his pride and arrogance, taking advantage of people, he's manipulating. He's running the show in his life, so he thinks. Okay, that was me. Not really, but thinking I was trying to. His ways prosper at all times. Your judgments are on high out of his sight. Yep, we don't see it. We don't see it. The Lord is working. I could feel it. I was like, oh God, what's going to happen? I could just feel it, that it was going to come crashing down at any moment. I could feel it, man. It was like when I was living my old life, I always was in a state of fear just about thinking about, okay, when is this going to come to an end? I just feel like this is going to come to an end. Well, it did. Abusing drugs and all that, and, not doing what I'm supposed to do in other areas, with family and this and that. Just all that stuff. It just felt like it was going to come crashing down. Like I was squandering my responsibility. Wasn't being a help to anybody. But in defense of myself, I'm not even going to do that. All right, here we go. Verse 6. His mouth is full of he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. Verse 6. He says in his heart, I shall not be moved. Throughout all generations, I shall not meet adversity. Okay. He's basically saying, y'all, oh, there is no God. We're okay. We're just gonna, it grows in the earth. They sell it in stores. This and that. It's okay. This is not gonna happen. We're going to the metaverse. Let's pollute. Let's litter. Let's throw everything out the window. Who cares? It's not our problem. As long as it's not touching us at this time, we're okay. Let somebody else deal with it. Yeah. This is the typical heathen atheist, or once saved, always saved type of thing. God is all good. He brought the Christ. We got nothing to worry about. That was for sin, so we're good. Listen to Paul. Look what he says. He says, da 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 da. I got a thorn in my side. Blah 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 blah. All the things that they say. They even twist scripture around. Okay. We're okay. He hath said in his heart, verse 6, 10:6, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. We're okay. Look, I've been doing this so long. Yeah. Okay. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's just vain words. He's just talking. He ain't doing nothing. He's spinning his tires. He's not going anywhere. That was me. That was me, y'all. Yep. This is a good chapter. Y'all might get away before I finish it. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit. Everything he says is biased, to whatever he's trying to do. He has excused himself. We're once saved, always saved. We're okay. Let me get this, Let me slide this to you. Boom, boom, boom. Whatever he can do to pull a string, it's sick. But that's his life. That's what he wants to do. He don't have to answer to me. I'm just throwing the logs on the fire. That's all I'm doing. Okay, so he lieth in wait. No, he sitteth. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. So before he even says anything, he's trying to get something, trying to get over. He's trying to, maybe not always, but if the situation arises, oh yeah, he's gonna pull a string here and there, and that's just human nature. That's just the nature of the game. Not the game, but predator versus prey type thing. That's spiritual. This is spiritual principles you're talking about. Deceit, all that, in vain. He's not gaining anything. He's just all about the moment, all about the situation. All the principles are out of the way. There are no principles. It's all about what you can get, or not get, or avoid, or something like that. All principles are out of the way. All principles are out of the way with these people that he's talking about. Yeah, that's me. It's me too. All this stuff, me. I'm not removed from this critique or statements or whatever. I'm not removed from this. This is me too. Okay. So when I talk about who this is, it's me too. I'm just trying to work on it. Okay. This could be me too in a heartbeat. It was me. This was me. So don't say I'm just talking about whoever pointing the finger. No, I'm pointing the finger at me. Okay. He lieth in wait secretly. No. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. Okay. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. He sits in ambush in the villages. In the hiding places he murders the innocent. He establishes stealthily. Now his eyes stealthily watch for the helpless. Yep. Seen it. Everything that God gave you, you're using for something else. His eyes stealthily watch for the helpless. There's something in you. You doing all this, there's something in you. Yeah, they're out there. Just looking for an opportunity. Something to hurt. We want something to hurt that we know can't hurt us back. We're trying to take advantage of something that we can manipulate. We're trying to squeeze. We're trying to squeeze somewhere. We're trying to get in. We're trying to get in. Some of these, just because it says you're murdering you're laying in murder, it could be anything. You're murdering their soul. You're murdering their finances. You're murdering something. You're taking something by the gift that God gave you for good, and you're using it for your own gain. Okay, the gift of your intelligence, you're using it to manipulate. You're lying in wait. You're hiding behind this. So it's all about being deceitful and oppression. Using your leverage, whatever it is, for whatever it is. Using leverage. Using leverage. You're leveraging with your God-given gifts for your own personal BS. Even though it might benefit you, you think you're setting a net for yourself. You're falling. You're setting a net for yourself doing all this. So you're not gaining, you're losing. Okay? Me, anybody. When you act deceitful, when you say there is no God and all that, and you're pushing on and this and that, and you're sliding, you're squeezing. You're sliding on your belly like a snake is what you're doing. Slithering. Sheesh. All right? And that's what he told Satan. You slide on your belly like a snake, you'll eat dust the rest of your life. Satan said, yeah, that's what you need to do. Slide around on the ground. Because, boy, you are looking low. Okay? In hiding places. His eyes stealthily watch for the helpless. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong one. He's basically talking about Satan right here. He croucheth. Let's look over here. He humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He says in his heart, 11. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. Yep. He has made his peace with his he says, look, I made up my mind. This was me. Not really. I was skeptical about whether God was going to. I wasn't ever sure that, I was in the clear. But yeah, people say, I'm in the clear. I'm once saved, always saved. We're good. And that's I made up my mind. We're going to be okay. And I'm just going to run with this. That's the line of thinking. I'm just going to run with this. Everything's okay. I'm going to do my drugs. I'm not going to do whatever that I'm supposed to do. And God will not see it. They are self-deceived, which is often the case, and I've seen it. I knew a dude, boy, just self-deceived, stupid stuff. I saw a dude with athlete's foot for 4 months. I told him as soon as he had, hey, bro, you got athlete's foot. We're in an institutional setting. He's scratching between the toes every day, this and that. I said, bro, that athlete's foot. He said, no, it's not. I got dry skin. Okay. I left it alone. Brought it up a couple more times. And needless to say, he had it for about 4 months. And some people don't have common sense, but yeah, it's not my business, but it is my business because, for one, it could spread to me. Other people in the shower, you're going to take a shower. It's getting off your feet into the shower. People don't know common sense like that. They don't care. They're in denial. It's all about what they want to hear is what reality is. Don't tell us something we don't want to hear, because that means, hold on, you're right, and that means I got to do something. And plus, I just enjoy scratching it. It's fun. These people are weird out here, bro. People are weird out here, bro. Okay? Dude had athlete's foot. Probably still got it. All you had to do is buy the cream on the store and change socks after you get out of the shower and stuff like that. Put new socks on. You treat it like you got athlete's foot. No, he just pressed on, wear the same socks every time you get out of the shower. You're not taking any measures to get rid of the athlete's foot. And it showed. It didn't go anywhere. And, just stupid stuff. He made up his mind. It wasn't, I'm sure he believed me or whatever, but some down the line. But, just people are in denial. They're self-deceived. Okay, they're self-deceived. Oh, we're okay. It's once saved, always saved. We can do what we want to do. Look, we're doing it. We're okay. Oh, we're okay. No, your judgments are on high. Your judgments are on high. It says it right here. Verse 5. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. Look, we're smiling, we're good. What do you mean? We're okay. Ha 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 ha. Will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. His ways are grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for his enemies, he puffeth at them. Ha ha, we got you. Okay. No, 10 verse 5. His ways prosper at all times. Pause. Your judgments are on high. Now let me back up. In the pride of his face, the wicked do not seek after him. In the pride of his face, the wicked do not seek after him. Look, we're happy, we're good, we're okay. Look, see? Come join us. All his thoughts are, there is no God. There is no God. His ways prosper at all times. Your judgments are on high, out of his sight. This is typical. This is talking about the typical person in sin that just acts like nothing's going on. You're okay, dude. Okay, I'm trying to warn y'all, man, and myself, to keep pushing on or make a turn, because he's giving a perfect description. All right, going on. 10. He crouches and humbleth. Crouches. That's just a sin he's talking about. That's what he talked about. Sin is crouching at your door. So he doesn't mind being a wolf in sheep's clothing. He humbleth himself. He doesn't mind playing a role to get what he's got to get. Just being deceitful is a crazy thing, and that's me too. Just saying, man. It's just, how can you beat somebody that just tell you anything? And just, they're self-deceived. They're self-deceived. I knew a guy who let me finish this first. Thou hast seen it. No, I gotta say this. I knew a dude who stole $100,000 in one time electronically. And he had convinced himself. No, he had, somebody had sent him $100,000 because it was a con. It was something he had convinced him it was for a legitimate investment. And they sent him $100,000 for like a legitimate deal or whatever. So they thought. And this dude had really convinced himself that he was hiding behind some stipulation of the law or this and that he was going to get off, and that he wasn't actually breaking the law. That wasn't the case, man. Dude went to jail. But he had convinced himself through his self-deception and denial that he was smart enough to hide behind. But he believed his lie so fast, he really didn't do all the homework. He was just, doing the thing, this and that. So needless to say, he's still trying to get around his mind that you really convince yourself that you were going to be okay. And that's what we do. We convince ourselves. He literally stole $100,000. Where can you find that much cash? $100,000. You'd have to rob 10 banks to get $100,000. 15 banks. So I said, bro, you in for a rude awakening, man. And I didn't want the guy to be in jail. I'm just saying. Like, dude, he was convinced, and he'll still say it, that I received money. He couldn't get it around his mind that you deceived these people, you broke the law. So he had deceived himself into some technicality that he wasn't breaking the law and that he wasn't right. And that's one of his main flaws, is that he's self-deceived. He had convinced himself in haste or whatever. He's an alcoholic. He's probably drunk as hell, trying, whatever. It just goes on and on, man. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not this and that. Guys, denial is one of our biggest enemies. We're once saved, always saved. We don't have to be accountable. This and that. It's terrible. So, and I'm as big as anybody. I was in denial. Oh, drugs are what's best for me. I'll never be this fulfilled if I'm not on drugs. And really it was just, I'm really just in a worse state, headed towards death, liver failure, anything, prison. My life is crumbling, going to be ripped away from me at any moment in that position. So guys, I was in denial too, and I'm working on that. But everything that I say about stuff in the channel, I'm guilty of too. I saw a lot of myself in that guy about being in denial. I saw a lot of myself in that guy. But the point behind that is he was self-deceived. Okay? So he was self-deceived. He had told himself that he was going to be hiding behind some technicality in the law. He was going to be hiding behind it. He was in the clear. No, you're not in the clear. You're not in the clear, y'all. You're not in the clear with your sin. You're not in the clear. You're not in the clear. Your judgments are on high. You're prideful. And we're not done with this chapter, but I'm going to let y'all go. And I like not finishing chapters. Okay. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. I'm good. We're good. We're good, y'all. We're good. We're once saved, always saved. I'll say it again. We're good. Push on. Let me get this. Let me get that. Hey. Ooh, slide here. Boom. No. You're not dabbing. You're not going to dab your way through this. You're not going to dab your way through this with all your, swag and all that. You're not going to do it. You so slick. You're so smart. Oh, look, you just finessing this. You're finessing this. You're finessing that. No, your judgments are on high. Okay, so I'm going to leave y'all at that. We'll finish with that tomorrow. Don't finesse yourself out of this stuff, man. You're finessing yourself. All right, y'all, so I'll see you tomorrow. All right, see you.